Hello, Rick here and welcome to the Cultural Index, where we aim to provide a crash course in various science fiction species, as well as providing a deeper look into its culture or features. Last time you voted for the Quarians, the spacefaring nomads of the Mass Effect universe, so let's look behind those visors and delve into the lore of this mysterious race. Keeler Salai. The Quarians inhabit the migrant fleet, approximately 17 million individuals spread over 50,000 vessels. Although their homeworld, Rannoch, once sustained a great population, they are unique in the Mass Effect universe for being driven from their homeworld, living solely now on the vessels that carry them from system to system. Because of this nomadic lifestyle, their culture has been diluted somewhat by the resources they've integrated into their fleet and the compromises made due to long-term space travel. The ships that house them were originally just the Quarian live ships that left their home system. However, with the addition of new vessels, the size of the flotilla has grown and diversified. Living on a fleet makes most Quarians adept engineers with a wide range of systems. Often being able to jury-rig is seemingly incompatible technologies. As their history shows, this ingenuity has always been present, as their flair for innovation led them to the loss of their homeworld, Rannoch.
It comes with being a Quarian.
Developing machines and tools to aid the growth of a civilization is the hallmark of any intelligent species, but this reached a dangerous turning point in the history of the Quarians, for they created artificial life. What began as little more than serving robots soon developed into a rather complex virtual intelligence. Virtual intelligence is the term given to any artificial system that mimics free thought, but cannot operate outside of its programming. Gradually, however, the Geth, for that was the name given to the servants, became more complex, and the line between perceived intelligence and true thought began to blur. It's interesting to note that the Geth term in Quarian simply means servant to the people. In our own language, robot is derived from the Old Slavic term rabata, meaning servitude. Eventually, the Geth came into conflict with the Quarians, who attempted to destroy them. Conflicts escalated into full-scale war, and the result of which forced the Quarians to flee their homeworld. These same vessels carry them almost 300 years later. This major upheaval meant that a lot of their culture was lost, along with their homeworld. It would be dull to leave it there, so let's instead indulge in some over-analysis. We know that the Geth, once in control of Rannoch, actually set about restoring the ecosystem to the arid world and preserving ancient ruins of Quarian design. This tells us two things. Firstly, that their homeworld's ecosystem was unbalanced by Quarian expansion in a similar way to our own, and that construction lasted a long time on their planet, hence the ruins. Haestrom was a Quarian settlement world lost to the Geth, however its architecture remains. This shows us impressive stone constructs of geometric design, large edifices of carved rock interlaced with metals. The designs for Rannoch and the migrant fleet interiors were also inspired by parts of London. The preference of stone and metals in Quarian construction reflects the symbiotic nature the Quarians held with their homeworld. They are avoiding the use of lumber and other materials of a biological nature. This led to a comparably weaker immune system, as on Rannoch most microorganisms were not pathological in nature. Once alienated from their homeworld, this weakness was compounded by living in the sterile environment of interstellar flight for generations. This means that every Quarian has to constantly wear an environmental suit to preserve their health. Although they won't die from immediate exposure to a foreign atmosphere, they will undoubtedly become ill. This can be minimised, however, with medication, sterilisation, and immunotherapy. Open wounds, however, are a different story, as infection could easily set in and become fatal within minutes. Despite this, repeated exposure will eventually build a tolerance. Therefore, Quarians linking suits mixes their environments and is a sign of personal closeness, as it suggests that future contact is to be expected, and you better get used to my germs now. There's often much speculation as to what the Quarian people look like beneath their suits, as so few get to see them. We only get to see one in-game reference to their appearance, which seems to be mostly human, with reflective eyes and a pale pinkish-purple hue. The Pilgrimage is a coming-of-age rite conducted by all Quarians, in which they leave the safety of the migrant fleet and only return when they've found something of use to the community as a whole, new technology, resources, a ship even. They may then apply for a position aboard a vessel and continue to serve their shipmates and people. Another thing of interest is the naming structure. For a Quarian, it tells more than just a way of identification, and it seems to be a continuation of an older tradition based on their earlier clan or family orientated roots. Let's look at the most beloved Quarian for an example, tali'zorah Naraya. Now the first word of the name is her birth name. Tali. Zora is the clan name. Not so different from us humans so far. Now the name of the ship that they serve on is added at the end. In Tali's case, the Raya. The Na in Naraya means that she was born on the Raya yet has to complete her pilgrimage. When the pilgrimage is completed, she earns the name Vas Nima. Vas means crew of, and the ship she serves on is now the Nima. Just for fun, an example. Star Trek's Captain Kirk would be known as James Kirk Vas Enterprise, or Voyager's Naomi Wildman would be known as Na Voyager, because she was born on the Voyager. Quarians, due to their drifting fleet and constant need for resources, are somewhat treated as pariahs, due to the infamy of unleashing the Geth and the resource drain they create when they enter a habited system. It doesn't help that they lost their embassy on the Citadel, the galactic government, for violating the laws against AI creation. This disdain for the Quarians causes them to become even more insular and increasingly community-minded. Each captain has the final say as to what goes on his ship, but the entire fleet is overseen by the Admiralty, the ranking officers, and decisions made via Council, the Conclave. As space is at a premium for their shipboard lifestyle, unwanted items are often gifted to other vessels that might need them, with no thought of payment to each other. They also, therefore, subsist on a mostly vegan diet, as livestock takes up space and water and resources to maintain. Their food, however, would be intensely disagreeable to levoprotein-based lifeforms such as humans and Asari, as the dextro-based DNA of a Quarian requires nourishment native to them or the similarly sequenced species, the Turians. Similarly sequenced species. Who the hell writes this stuff? What do you mean, me? Oh my... Anyway, despite the practical design of their ships, the lived-in look soon reveals that art is still a big part of Quarian culture. In fact, storytelling and dancing have evolved into an art form, as they take up no space, unlike things like sculpture and painting. Their environmental suits too are often adorned with scarves, patterns and a variety of colours used only to personalise what is effectively their second skin. The conservation of space goes so far as to mitigate the prisoner population of the fleet, with community service or exile being the most common punishments and preferable to the extreme cases where execution is considered. This goes for crimes such as treason and sabotage. Families too are often regularly limited to one child to maintain a constant population. One of the factors that seems to have been lost with their homeworld is their religious history. At one time, Quarians practiced a sort of ancestor worship, even preserving the memories of important Quarians as virtual intelligence. Likely due to the resources needed to maintain, this practice has been lost in the current fleet lifestyle. It is still seen, however, that showing respect and deference to one's ancestry is still observed and often used in prayer-like terms such as "ancestors guide us." One spiritual prayer that has become more common in the last 300 years is Kila Salai, "By the homeworld I hope to see." The Quarians seem to be trapped in an odd place. Their nature is that of curiosity, community and a symbiotic development, but their current climate sees them shunned, weakened, but overall made tougher and hardier by the flotilla life. The ultimate fate of the Quarians is left up to you in Mass Effect 3, as is the species for the next cultural index. Check the description below to see how you can vote, as this video's choices are now going to be between the KROGAN or the Asari. As usual, I'll leave a comment for each species below, and whichever one gets the most likes is the one that gets the next video. So until then, I'm Commander Rick and this is my favourite series on YouTube. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.